Hey guys, it's Chris. So, now bots have come to PUBG, and so far I've yet to see a single person that likes it. Streamers, YouTubers, and YouTube commentators unanimously seem to abhor the thought of bots in PUBG, and I can completely understand that. Before I get into my own thoughts and musings, I think a little background might be in order. This also gives me the opportunity to reminisce a little about the good old days. I checked my Steam purchases and I bought the game July 7th, 2017. I instantly fell in love with the game, warts, bugs, desync, and all. I was very bad in the beginning, downright horrible. It took me over 2 months to get my first win. A big reason it took me so long to win for the first time was I only played solo. I didn't want to drag down randoms with my horrible playing. Once I started queuing with randoms, I realized that there were many who were way worse than me. Eventually I would become okay at the game. I would go on to win another 250 or so more times over the next year. For some, this was a lot of wins, and compared to others, this was very few wins. For perspective, when I got my win number 200, I saw a professional player who had a win counter up get his win number 2000. So I got about 10% of the number of wins as a professional player had at the time. I don't know exactly when I quit playing PUBG, but it was a long time ago. I have done a few returns every now and then with friends, but my play was never any good and it was not the same feeling as it was before, even when we won. After getting some videos in my feed about bots in PUBG, I felt that I wanted to check it out on my own. It was fun being a complete noob again. I was instantly reminded of my first days playing when I accidentally fired my gun and gave myself a jump scare. The first time I got shot at, I panic-proned. Then, that was shortly followed by the high of my first Kar 98 headshot on an enemy. I always thought that the demise of PUBG was baked into the game. As a beginner, you're okay with dying horribly over and over again. For a while. Eventually, the worst players would get bored of just dying and quit the game. Then the players who used to be at least not the worst players would find themselves at the bottom and get bored as well. This would lead better and better players to quit as they found themselves at the bottom of the totem pole. This was not a problem as long as there was an influx of new players like there was in 2017. Then us bad players at least had each other to kill. If you're a completely new player in 2020, or someone who hasn't played in a long time, you would find yourself constantly fighting grizzled veterans. Dying over and over again to enemies you can't even see is not fun for very long. I logged in the other day for the first time in a long time. I was not really sure what to expect, but it was really fun. I just played some solo games. I was really enjoying myself. My shooting was absolutely atrocious, but that's okay. I even managed to squeak in my first win by turning myself into a snake. An old tactic, always looked down on by everyone, including myself. I'm not sure how many bots are in each game, but it seems like it's a lot. It completely changes the dynamic of the game for better and worse. The first change is obvious as soon as you jump. Enemies land in weird places, and where you used to be able to find enemies easily are now empty. Last night landing alone at Hacienda felt unreal. The bots are very noisy. They run around at full speed and then they start shooting all willy-nilly, which in turn attracts players. The time between fights felt really well spread out. I remember a lot of games used to be you land at a hotspot and you land in a massive firefight and then it just went silent until you reached about top 10 and then you started fighting again, with a long downtime in between. The bots give new players some nice target practice, as well as an opportunity to get used to getting randomly shot at seemingly out of nowhere. This lets new players get into the game a lot better than say the training mode, which, bluntly put, is quite horrible. Training mode is okay for learning recoil control and a little bit of aim practice, but otherwise it's just noisy and generally not fun. There are drawbacks as well, of course. Fighting bots cheapens the thrill of winning, and makes you significantly less excited about your kill count. The bots also move and act in ways real players do not, so it can make you get into the habit of predicting bot actions, which later gets you killed when going against real players. Personally, I think training mode should just be you against bots on some small maps. Obviously, I do think they should just let you opt out of having bots in your game. A simple queue option. Are you okay with bots in your game? Yes, no. If you have been playing PUBG 6 hours a day for the last 2 years, then you're rightfully disappointed in the bots coming in. If you're someone who wants the integrity of the game intact and just want to play against other humans, then this is a horrible change. If you're a completely new player or someone who used to play, but you could just not get back into the game because the level of competition was just so high that it was hard to break you back into it, then this could be for you. In many ways, this is artificially trying to recreate the situation we were back in 2017 with the constant influx of new players. It's just that these players are AI now. PUBG Corp could potentially make money from this change as well. They could bring in some new players as well as bring back old players. Let's face it, from their perspective, someone who plays 60 hours a week that might occasionally buy an in-game hoodie is worth as much as someone who plays 3 hours a week who might occasionally buy an in-game hoodie. Is the bot implementation perfect? No. I would rather they found some ways to keep a steady influx of new players coming in and old players coming back. But I don't know how they could consistently do that. Some kind of proper skill-based matchmaking could be another solution, but PUBG has always been a very hard game to do that in. The game always weighed how long you survived too much. How long you survive and how well you kill enemies are two very different skill sets. The bots seem to be too plentiful. In most games about half my kills are bots, and sometimes it's even more than that, and that is too much. Some games, the first real player I ran into was when I got into the top 2. While the bots shoot very poorly, I think making them aim better would counteract their purpose. I would, however, like to see them move better and move to cover faster. Being a more casual player now in my old age, rather than the hardcore player I was when I was younger, I can enjoy the more casual aspects of gaming. My daughters and their friends enjoy other battle royale games like Free Fire or PUBG Mobile. And for players like them, just being able to enjoy the game and have some fun is more important than always knowing if they killed a real player or not. Casuals are always looked down on in games, and noob is the outright go-to insult so often that it's easy to forget that for many games, the casuals and the noobs outnumber the hardcore players. And if they get completely driven away, there's not much of a game left. You could even argue that was the state PUBG was in now, and that's why they're forced to make this radical change. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Let me know in the comments what you agree with and disagree with. I know I am in the minority here defending the bots, but that's exactly why I felt I needed to make this video. Did you know that if you subscribe to the channel, you get a 20% boost in the likelihood of finding an M24 in the first house you land in? No, but seriously, if you enjoyed the video and want to see more content in the future, please consider subscribing. I hope you have a wonderful day.